You're listening to Just 3 Clicks. This is episode number 9. And it's a special episode today because we are going to be talking about... Thanks, I've lost the thing. You're listening to Just 3 Clicks, and this is episode number 9. And it's a pretty important episode today because we're going to be talking about 5 years of videos. And I'm here with David.
Hey everybody, just want to apologise as well because I think we may have been away for a few weeks or months.
It's been a long time.
But you know, we're restarting. Well, not restarting, but we are now back and hopefully being more regular again. But you know, the world has been a bit crazy. So
yeah, it's pretty. It's an interesting time, really. September 29th is basically going to be our 5-year anniversary here at Viddyoze, and there's a lot of other big things going on. You know, we've come back into the office now. So I don't know how many people are here now.
There's more than pre-COVID. So yeah. I think we've hired maybe 8 or 9 people in the last 2 months. So yeah.
So a lot of new people joining the business. In fact, Nindy is our head of content. He's the one that's actually got this whole brief together. So we're doing this in a different format now, because normally we just kind of go off the cuff and just talk about anything. But there is actually a structure here.
And what we are doing right now is going off the cuff and talking about anything, even though...
Yeah, because it says in the first 2.5 minutes, we're supposed to be talking about other things.
Should we
let's follow it.
Yeah.
So back in the office, it's the 5-year anniversary in the recruitment drive. We've done that. So yeah, it's a good time to basically relaunch the podcast because, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's happened, but I think we're pretty much now in the flow of normal business now.
Yeah, I would say
Almost.
so. I mean, I guess it is normal, but it's very different. We've grown like massively over the last sort of probably 6 months. And I think the landscape in the business is a lot different than it was prior to this. You know, we're hiring a lot more people, kind of middle management's coming in. So I think, although it is normal, it's kind of the new normal in our business too. It's quite a big adjustment. You know, a lot of onboarding, you know, probably the best part of 10 people over the last 4 or 5 months in the business. You know, it's quite significant. It's been very busy, all while managing, you know, kind of growing pains. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So the way that we're going to basically approach this is like we're just going to do like a retrospective, I suppose, over the last 5 years, and we'll go through year by year, kind of like the things we learned, the stuff that happened, and there should be some pretty interesting bits, really.
You have to forgive me and Joey if we hyperventilate, get a bit emotional, or you know, just walk out of the room, because the last 5 years have been like a roller coaster, and I think probably some of it has been blocked from memory. So if we start digging up through these old wounds, then, you know, not responsible for what's about to happen.
Yeah, so I suppose 2015, in hindsight now, was probably the easiest one. It was probably the easiest year we had. There wasn't really any expectations, I suppose.
No, I think there's... I think back in 2015, you know, we were all in decent positions. We all had kind of, you know, good companies that were making enough money to live a comfortable life, and our ambitions weren't what they are now. And I think when you've got smaller ambitions that are, you know, more attainable, it's kind of, you don't put the pressure on yourself as much.
Yeah.
So back in 2015, we just wanted to make some money, really, and we did. But then it took us a while to turn it into, you know, what would become a business, really. I think back then it was easy. You know, the stress is when I look at the things that we used to stress about back then. It's kind of funny right now because I'm like the things that we would get on 3-hour phone calls and be like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. Like the business is about to die. It's kind of like if it happened right now, it wouldn't even be
A talking point.
a talking
probably.
point. So I think you kind of, you grow through the years. And I think back then, we were different people.
It was like an example. There was a guy, Andrew Darius. I don't really care if we name him. It was a guy called Andrew Darius who ripped off our product. This actually happened in a later year, but we may as well just say it now because we're here. So he copied the product. It wasn't anywhere near as good as Videos, and we spent fucking weeks and weeks just like micro analyzing this thing like to the death. And like, to be fair, the fact that we looked at it so closely made us make the product so much better.
Yeah.
But like now, we're releasing Videos, a new version in a month or so, a couple of months, and he's releasing a thing that's basically a rip off of the product, and it looks terrible. And all we did was basically look at it and laugh and just carry on over a few minutes. It's just bizarre how different perspectives can change over time.
I think it's just experience. I mean, it comes down to going through things, and then, you kind of panic about them. But then when you kind of, just like this kind of retrospective now, when you say, well, it wasn't even that bad,
Yeah.
it's kind of, I think it's just going through so much in a short period of time. You kind of forget the experiences that you've gained and how it impacts decision making, how it impacts how you kind of, I don't know, take things on board, really. Things that might have affected us back then, I just think right now they don't. But the things that are impacting us right now and kind of keeping us up at night, maybe in 5 years it'd be the same. It'd be kind of, well, why did we panic?
It's weird, really, because I was thinking about this the other day as we were talking about this new release we're doing. And one of the things that used to happen with preparing like a new launch release or whatever, we'd always think about, well, how is it going to look from the customer perspective? Like, what kind of problems are we going to have, login issues and all the rest of it. And I remember in 2015, we were basically doing support. Like, we were sat there on the first week of release, basically till 2-3 o'clock in the morning, answering all these support tickets, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And now, my mind doesn't even go there anymore. Like, I don't even think about that. My mind is just, how do we sell it? And that's, where I want to focus my attention.
Yeah.
Because we've got the processes and people that can basically step in and do that now.
I think for me, my focus goes more towards like how things are going to play out strategically. So if we do a product launch, like what impact will that have on the business? And, if we are in the future, going to exit the company or take on investment and have those conversations, how do we explain everything we're doing and why we're doing it to third parties? Because, we've always been, I think when we started this, so when I started my business and when I came into this business, I read a book called The 4-Hour Work Week, and I was all about, how do I sit on a beach and run a business? I wasn't, that's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to work. I wanted to make an income, and that was a dream for me. But I kind of did that for a couple of years, and it just didn't give me any fulfillment. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy sitting on the beach, but I enjoy sitting on the beach not working, relaxing, having time to switch off. And when I'm working, I enjoy being engaged and working with everybody. So I kind of think with this business, we're not those people anymore. And now, rather than working it that way, this isn't a lifestyle business. This is a business that we're aiming to grow. And it was only maybe 18 months ago where we started getting interest from VCs, private equity, even bigger companies looking to try and, are we for sale? So I think now the way I look at the business is more, 2 years down the road, like how are we going to appear to somebody else? Because, one day that may happen, and, you need to be able to tell that story and give commentary on the decisions you're making to give other people comfort that you're moving in the right kind of direction. So I think, that's probably how I view things now. This decision today, what impact is that going to have in the future, and is it beneficial or is it detrimental to that story?
Yeah, I think like when people start business as well, like it's how we were a couple of years ago. It was like we weren't really thinking necessarily a year down the line. It was kind of like, let's think 2-3 months down the line.
Yeah.
It was like kind of going from one promotion to the next, one campaign to the next, one update to the next. And it was like, I suppose we didn't have a proper roadmap. And I think when you're starting, when you're a young business, you just, in a way, you're kind of like that because a lot of that stuff comes over time, I think.
I think what it was with us, because if you look at like a normal tech company who go and get a funding, what they do is they'll go and get some seed like capital or angel money first, and then it's kind of like, right, build the product, and then they build the product, and then it's like, right, they go and raise more investment. Now from day one, they've all had the business plan, the projections, because they've got to do that to get the initial money in. They know all the KPIs. They have to report all that to somebody in a formal way, and they're always accountable. But what happened with us, we weren't accountable to anybody, just ourselves. So we were just three young guys who started a business, and we've had to eventually move into a more structured, more KPI driven, reporting the numbers properly, and it's quite a difficult transition to make, because you essentially go from anti-corporate and anti-establishment, which is what we all kind of did, to moving back into a more corporate and established environment. And then you've got to kind of manipulate the business to fit into that too. I think that's probably been the difficulty, but also an adjustment, but one that's required.
I think we found a balance of like how we go from, we have that structure there, but I think we've still got the agility to do things the way we need to do it.
Yeah.
The way we can still move quick on things. And I think that we just, I think our thing is just making sure we maintain that agility as we grow, as we get more people. Things are going to slow down. I mean, even having someone like Dan, Nindy, like people in content, there's now like a process that everything goes through before it goes out. And that's fine. It makes it kind of eliminates the need for us to have to kind of carry everything. I think one of the biggest things that's changed, 2015 and up until really recently, like we were basically carrying every single brick essentially in the business.
Yeah.
And that was quite difficult, really, mentally draining, actually.
Yeah, I think if the business wasn't, if we weren't driving it forward, then it wasn't driving. Well, the business wasn't moving. And from the outside, it may appear so, but it's more revenue. Like we were, we in some respects, like still are. We're responsible for, driving that revenue into the business, and to get this business moving to where it needs to move to, there needs to be other people who are accountable and responsible for that. So again, we can focus on what's a year, 2 years down the road.
Yeah. So I think that leads us pretty much into 2016, because what Nindy's put here is blood, sweat, and tears in 2016.
Are we doing a good job at sticking to this, by the way?
Nah.
No.
But it's it's kind of there. So 2016 was blood, sweat, and tears. What even happened in 2016? We released.
Maybe this is a year we've blocked out from memory.
2.0 came out in 2016. I remember we went to shoot this video for the Viddyoze 2.0 launch in that place was it Craigie?
Craigie Manor, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I was walking around on crutches because there's something wrong with my foot.
Yeah.
And it's where, that's where we actually found out that our product was being copied for the first time.
Yeah.
And we were all sat in this weird mood of just like, what do we do now kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which in hindsight, that literally was just like nothing. But yeah, that was basically what was happening in 2016. We did the 2.0 release, and then we started gearing up for the following year, which was going to be like the new technology, basically.
Do you know what? 2016 as well. That was when we saw major growth in like the October.
Oh yeah.
That's when.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, because 2017 was when we had the big
month.
yeah. So yeah, that was quite a transitional year, really. I think that was probably the year where you realised that this could go somewhere like pretty interesting.
If you think back, actually, we released 2 other products in 2016. We released Brander in
Yeah.
February, and I think we released. I don't know if we did
Prospector.
Prospector, maybe.
It was because we were in Dublin for the to film,
Yeah.
and then we didn't, that 1 week we couldn't film the entire video, so we had to go back the week after.
Oh yeah. That was it. So yeah, we actually released other products in 2016, which it just, I think what we realized was just like we were trying to basically do different kinds of apps and stuff, and the focus was videos. It always was videos, but I think we were just putting our hands in other things and just trying to do other stuff as well.
I think it's the nature of being a bootstrapped business. Like we had to make money. I mean, you can't focus on anything other than putting money in the bank, because you've got bills to pay. And back then, our AWS bill was like, some months it was like 60K. So you got, and what it was inefficient. It wasn't working in the most efficient way. So, we were having to keep the business running. We were having to just stack money in the bank all the time. And you feel that pressure all the time.
I mean, the development team wasn't even there, really.
No, not really.
I mean, for people listening, like myself, David, and Jamie, we're not developers. Our background is basically marketing. So, like, from the start, we've always had to pretty much rely on somebody else basically telling us what's happening with the technology, and that's been a very big challenge, actually. Only up until recently that's been solved, but that was really difficult. Like, not knowing when stuff was happening with the technology, not knowing when the deadlines were going to be hit, and things like that. It's quite difficult.
Yeah, the first 3 years maybe we were going to market with probably the night before a product launch, we wouldn't be ready.
Yeah.
So that was probably the sweat and tears of this.
What would typically happen is, because David kind of still does, I suppose, manage the development side. Like, he handles that side, and I'm kind of on the sell side. So I'm trying to basically put together all this amazing marketing content that says, the product's going to do this, that, and the other. It's going to have all the bells and whistles and whatever else, and then day before the launch, we're there, and none of that stuff actually exists, or it's broken, or it's missing, or it's not there yet. So there was always this balancing act of like me trying to oversell it, and David trying to basically make sure that it actually does something.
Yeah.
Those were difficult times.
I think that's one issue that it's hard to, when you're not in control, or when you can't do something to impact, a problem. That is probably one of the hardest things I've been through as an entrepreneur. Sales and marketing, we can do things. We can make phone calls. We can create sales pages. We can make a video, and we can do what we think is the right thing to do. But when it comes to things like development, because we're not developers, you're relying on somebody else, what they say, what they do, whether they want to take a day off or a week off, or whether they can handle the pressure that we put them under. And not being in control of that is probably the hardest thing that I've been through in business, really, because the pressure, you're basically not in control. So we've had to really work hard on that side of the business to give us that visibility, give us that predictability. And that's, what we've probably spent the last 18 months trying to achieve. And I think we've got to a stage now where, we can predict and we can hold people accountable, and things move as fast as they need to. So yeah, I think that it's a lot more, everything's a lot more comfortable now. It's a lot more easy to kind of move with, rather than, is this ready? Nope. Well, we'll launch in 2 days. Is it going to be ready? Can't promise.
Yeah.
So
then we moved into, like, towards the end of the year, what David kind of mentioned before was we had we started getting a bit of growth with one particular affiliate partner that we had, who was actually just one person. It wasn't like
Yeah.
a company. It was just a guy in Romania who managed to strike some luck with some Facebook advertising. And in October, I think we started doing about maybe $3,000 or $4,000 a day.
Yeah,
in
it was like
sales.
$100,000 a month, maybe. Yep.
Yeah, and for us at the time, that was like, oh shit, we weren't doing really any kind of ongoing sales. Like we weren't selling every day consistently at that point. What we were doing was basically these launch event type things where we would make a whole load of money, would build some recurring, and then we'd have a nice amount of recurring income every month from that initial marketing piece. But we didn't have like active paid acquisition. So that was the first time we really kind of got to that point. And then we started doing a couple of grand a day. That started growing, and it grew and it grew and it grew. And we went right into January in 2017. And that month we ended up doing just over $1 million in sales, basically, with that one affiliate.
Yep.
And I think that was just like an eye opener, because it was like, we need to basically understand how we can do that ourselves.
Yep.
And replicate that, basically.
Yeah, I think it was what it came down to was it was a realization that we had a mainstream product that had mainstream appeal, and that people enjoyed using the product. I think until then, we had a lot of users, but this particular month, the user base probably doubled. It's crazy. And I think as well, obviously business-wise it's great, but personally for me as well, that was a very weird time, because there were some days where I remember one day I think we did like $85,000 in revenue. I think we profited maybe 40 to 45. It was something like that.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I used to make, when I had a job, I had 15 grand in a year, and essentially my share of that was I made that in a day.
Yeah.
And I think, we all kind of took a step back at that point. Again, this was a lifestyle business still back then. It wasn't, we had hardly any employees. It was, mainly contractors.
Office. I think we didn't even have.
We had a three-man office. It was just, it was the three of us, me, Joey, Jamie, myself, and then a few contractors around the world, and we were in this position where it was like, well, we need to now invest this money in something, Joey's laughing because we'll get on to kind of what we did with that money and the mistakes that we made. But yeah, it was just a very, it's weird looking back at it, because at the time it was like a euphoria of like, oh my God, we're achieving all the things we wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
But then I look at what we made and I'm like, it just doesn't seem real, because if we did that now, if we went, we have done recently, do $1 million in a month, I don't really get excited.
Yeah.
I don't feel any particular emotion other than, we're doing what we should be doing, but we need to do more. And back then I thought we'd made it. I was like, oh my God, this is it. We've made it.
I think we've made that mistake a couple of times. I definitely have made that mistake a few times over my career. And only this particular time, when we've had these last 6 months or whatever it's been, is the first time where I've actually just been completely almost neutral to what's happening. And it's just like, okay, cool. Like, we're not going to overreact. We're not going to fucking... just go and spend lots of money on nothing. To get to that as well, I don't know. We traveled a lot. We done a lot of trips.
Well, we obviously went to go and meet affiliates, and a lot of our content became more extravagant, I would say. We hired quite an expensive team of people to shoot the content, and we weren't happy shooting the content in Preston, so we traveled to Belgrade, Miami, Vegas, LA. We were in Chicago, we were in New York,
San Diego,
went
to a lot of places.
Cannes, Barcelona. We we wanted to make everything more interesting, so we travelled around the world quite a bit at the time. You know, because we thought at the time, you know, we wanted to meet the guys who were driving the sales back into the business, and you know, essentially, you know, what you get in a traditional B2B business, I guess, is salespeople going and meeting people, entertaining potential clients. And what we did is, you know, we entertained our affiliates, because our affiliates were kind of our salespeople. You know, they were commission only salespeople. So,
and we had a good time. Like, you know, there's nothing to. It's at the end of the day, like, you know, we, as David said before, we weren't accountable to anyone. It was just like, it's our business. There's no investors. We're making shitloads of money. Let's just go and build relationships. But we're also, you know, enjoying the fact that we can do that. We've got the freedom to do that.
100%. I mean, I look back at those years, and it was a good time. Like,
I'd never trade it. It was just the best time of my life, really.
Yeah. So it's I think it was a period of time where, again, we weren't accountable to staff. I mean, obviously in a business like this, you know, it's our business and everybody's accountable to us technically. But you know, the more staff we get, the more accountable I feel to them, because at the end of the day, you know, we've got to steer the ship in the right way to make sure that there's a job for everybody there, and that, you know, that we don't have to make cuts. And I think, you know, the more staff we get, the more accountable we are to those guys too. So I think back then we weren't accountable to people because there was not really any staff in the business. We, again, no investors, no potential investors, nobody looking to buy us, just kind of the bank account growing. So yeah, we had an amazing time.
Then as we were getting towards the end of 2017, we started the office in the Regis building. We had a Regis office, and we upgraded that office 3 times. We started in a small one, then we went to kind of like a medium-sized one, and then right towards the end of Regis, we were in a pretty big one on the bottom floor.
And the reason we had to increase the size of the office is because we started to make more hires. So during 2017, when we made the money, I think we started to think, you know, we do need accountability. We need to bring experienced people into the business. We need more staff, or we can't continue to just be the ones driving this. It needs to be other people doing that. So I think would it have been 2017 into 2018? Like early
so we brought in the IBM guy and the other 2 in 2017.
No,
just towards the end, because
was it not 2018?
No, because 2018 we came to this office.
Right. Okay.
So they came. We didn't bring everyone here. We brought 2 of them into this office.
Yeah.
And then they didn't last very long here.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So we hired. When we were in Regis, we hired.
I thought it was 20.
You know
it was 2018. We brought him
Nindy's made a mistake here, yeah, because it says, "Oh, Nindy, what have you done?" So it says, 2018, moved to the office.
Yeah. So what we did,
is that right?
Yeah. So because it's 2 years this year.
2019, the calm before that. Oh right, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. 2018, we moved to the office in November, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then what we did, we brought those who shall not be named in like May, June, July, that time.
Yeah.
So they were in that, though. Yeah, that's what happened.
So we basically hired these experienced people from like bigger companies. The whole idea was like, we're trying to build this kind of management team and really bring in people who have done something that we've not done before. That was the whole idea, was trying to get people in who have done it that we don't have that experience. And
well, I think at the time we probably questioned our own abilities and our own experience, and we thought, do you know what, we need to bring people in who have worked at, you know, bigger companies. They understand structure and process, and you know, they've grown teams and managed teams, and yeah, that's what we did, and it just turned out to be, I reckon, one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in business.
Expensive as well, a very expensive mistake.
Expensive in a lot of ways. Like, people think that, you know, a bad hire is just the salary that you're gonna lose, but
It's time.
It's the time, opportunity cost. I think our entire time got sucked into supporting these people, giving them too much respect, if I'm honest. When they weren't delivering, we blamed ourselves and said it's our business, it's our fault, it's because we're not in a place to support these people. And I think, going back now, we've got an amazing business, and the amount of people I speak to and the amount of people I can just drop a message on LinkedIn and people want to talk. In driving, sales into the business, we managed to do that. And I remember sitting there with the VP of sales, and it was like, so how many sales have you made this month? And it was zero sales. And this was October 2018.
Every month he didn't make a single sale his entire career here.
So this is what happened. It was a very I think it was transformative in a lot of ways, because now we're starting to bring salespeople back into the office after a good 18 months of not having them.
I think we just had to go through it, because I think what it's done is it's given us a bit of a no-nonsense approach to bringing people into the business. Like, I suppose it's kind of like a bullshit detector in a way. It's like you can just kind of tell when someone's going to be able to do it or not. And we're still not right 100% of the time, but that muscle gets better over time. The more bad hires you make, you just kind of start seeing it, I think. And and it shows. Like, the last hires we've made in the business, they've all been great. We've got some really amazing people here right now, who are proving to be very useful, great additions to the team, and they're kind of leading the business the way we need it to. So
I think as well, it's probably important to say that these people we hired, it's not to say that they are going to be they're not bad employees. They in another organization they might do a great job, but the problem was we were hiring people who were used to structure, they were used to process, they were probably used to being in a big company where what they didn't move the entire needle of the organization, but they were one of 1,000 people who
easy to hide as well.
And I think in our business there is nowhere to hide. If you don't do your job, then everybody knows. And when your job is to drive sales into the business, or manage the person who's driving sales into the business, and we sit there after an entire month and there's no pipeline, there's no deals being spoken about, where is it to hide?
Exactly.
So
then we moved on to pretty much moving into the new office. So that was in November 2018. We had we actually bought this building, I think, in 2017.
Yep.
And then it took like a year for us to actually start seeing the building being created and that kind of stuff. And then we hired like this really cool interior designer / architect guy who basically was really well known in the Manchester area for doing offices for some pretty large companies, like the what did you do? He did Misguided. He did the Lad Bible offices and a couple of other really cool businesses here in the UK. And he basically met me, David, and Jamie, and he came up with these really cool ideas based on kind of the vibe, I suppose, that he got from us, and ended up putting this really wacky office together, which when we moved in, it was just amazing. Like, it was just such a good feeling, like, being here. I remember when your parents were here, and it was just like, this is quite cool, man. It's a good achievement, like, to put this together. Like, I never thought when I started that we'd be able to do anything like this. So that was quite a good moment, really.
Yeah, it's probably another example of how you adjust to something. So now this is our office, and it's great, but it's normal to us. And everybody who comes in, they're like, "Oh, this is a really interesting office," and it's kind of a running joke now that when we meet a new person, they all make the same comment. And
the meeting room is really green.
Yeah.
I've heard that so many times.
I do video calls in here sometimes, and everyone's like, "Where are you, in the TARDIS?" And it's like, it's same jokes all the time. So, but that's it. I mean, this is part of again another lesson, really, that what one day is amazing the next day is normal. So yeah, going back to like the making $1 million in a month,
Yeah.
amazing. But now if we did that, it's kind of very normal.
I mean, we were talking last week about getting a new office. We were saying, what if we got the building next door? What if we put a door through the wall, and then we had an even bigger office? And you always, I think that's just an entrepreneurial thing. You always want more, and you're never really settled, are you? And I think I like that. I like having that trait, because I don't ever want to settle really for anything. You want to keep moving forward, don't you? So then we kind of moved on to, we met him at the MBA in 2018.
That was August, yeah. I remember going to New York in August.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. That was the first time what happened was the NBA reached out to David. And what was that?
The NBA, it's like the NBA is like a with arms and legs, the logo.
Yeah.
So it was somebody at the NBA, not just the entire NBA
organization.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody basically sent a message to David and just said they were really interested in what the product was and wanted to see how it worked and stuff. And then, we didn't have the development capacity at the time and really the infrastructure to really handle something like that.
Yeah.
But really cool experience. Like, they invited us out to New Jersey, was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
To meet them at their headquarters, and went to their HQ in New Jersey. It was awesome. Like, just a really cool building. They had basketball courts in there, obviously. All the memorabilia, like Jordan stuff. And I'm a big basketball fan, so for me it was like kind of pretty inspiring to be there, really. But yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Quite a difficult meeting as well.
Yeah, it was. But that was a realization for us that, what we were doing wasn't just, for small and medium businesses. It was for big organizations too. And it changed our thinking around the business. And, we started to really kind of develop that side of the business too. Like what can we do to cater to that, the big organizations. And, today we've done a few deals with bigger companies. From that we developed our API, and we've utilized our API to do like personalized video content. And we're now working with like some big organizations in the UK on some more custom bespoke work that fits around the core of our product. So, white labeling that, creating bespoke content for, big organizations, franchises. And yeah, it's kind of, rather than charging someone $37 a month, these are potentially multi-million per year deals, but, 10 grand, 100 grand, 250. So it's really changing the way this changed the way, it kind of was the doorway to thinking a bit bigger, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the NBA meeting transformed our thinking, and again made us take the business a lot more seriously, and want to put investment into that.
Yeah, and there are things we've missed. Like there is a lot of other stuff that happened. Like we tried to change the entire business model a couple of years ago. We tried the marketplace.
We did, yeah.
We were trying to change the way that we sold animations, and I don't want to get into it now because it's kind of a long story, but the whole point is like we've had to go through the ringer of different ideas, and like the NBA thing I think was just one of those, it could have just been like an idea, but I think that actually is kind of leading to the future of what we're going to be doing in quite a big way. It's just an untapped thing that we have right now on the enterprise side, and I think that will probably be a massive thing for our business moving forward.
Yeah. I think, again, looking back, like 3 guys from the UK with a business in like Preston, which is not even like the tech hub of anything. We're not in Manchester, we're not in London, we're not in in a tech kind of capital, I guess. And that having him sitting in the NBA's headquarters in New Jersey, talking to senior people about how we can help them, it's surreal, really. And it just shows you that anything's possible if you just put yourself out there and move forward, really.
Yeah. So then we moved into last year, I guess, which was basically just a lot of an interesting time, a stressful time at the start of the year, very stressful time. We created a new product.
Well, what just to kind of like backtrack on why that was stressful. We all these people we hired, so we let them go.
Yeah.
But they'd pretty much desecrated the business. I mean, they'd taken all our time. We were the only people generating revenue, but what we tried to do was help them generate revenue, but they didn't do it. So the business, I can say it, the business was in decline, really. We weren't in a good place. Revenue was down, and we got to a position where we were in quite a precarious position, cash wise as well, because we'd spent a lot of money supporting these guys. 25 grand in Salesforce implementation. That we got a CRM for no customers because he said he wanted Salesforce and it would help him, in his job. So we supported him, and then he made no sales.
The irony as well is, like, a couple of years before that, we often reflected on it and said, like, we wasted money on a lot of things that we didn't need to waste money on.
Yeah.
But then what we tried to do in 2018 was actually reinvest it into the business the right way and put it into people and into teams, and and it just kind of backfired anyway.
Yeah. So it was kind of when we got into 2019, I think he had a 3 months notice period, so he went in March.
Yeah.
And then the other guy went in April, end of April, I think that was.
He went just before Blocks came out, I believe.
Yeah, which was May.
Yeah.
So we basically got rid of the people that we brought into, the experienced people, and then immediately we got back to what we do best.
Yeah.
And the business went from being in quite a negative place to actually we immediately put about $500,000 of cash in the bank. We brought that in, we got the business back into a better place, and then we went about growing the business in a more kind of structured and more predictable way. If we're talking numbers, our 2018 revenue was the same as our 2019 revenue. So we basically managed to, it wouldn't have been, but we managed to stabilize the business and actually grow a tiny, tiny bit. And then to give you an idea of what's happening this year, we're probably on track to more than triple our revenue from 2019. So, we got back to what I feel we do best, and the results have been almost 300% growth. And
I remember us saying, like, we just need to go backwards and simplify everything.
Yeah.
So we were trying so much stuff, and I think we're trying a lot of stuff now, but I just think we're in a position to try stuff now because we're in an incredible cash position. We're profitable every month right now, and we're just in a position where we can actually take some calculated risks. But we're in a very good place now. And just kind of rewinding slightly, just to the start of this year, what the plan was actually coming into the new year. We had this kind of strategy that we wanted to adjust the way the business basically was working. So we've got videos as kind of like our core product right now. But what the idea was is that we were going to basically rebuild this previous product that we just built called Clipio, which is like a full video creator. And we were going to essentially revitalize that and actually make that the core product, and then change the way our funnel works and stuff. Now, that kind of is still the plan moving forward, but what's happened in between is obviously the COVID things just suddenly happened. We were actually in a position where we were really, really doing quite well with paid acquisition. So Facebook ads, Instagram, YouTube, Google, we were doing quite well prior to the COVID situation. But basically what happened was, as soon as we got into March and the lockdown was announced, all the advertising budgets on these platforms essentially plummeted, which for companies like ours was a massive golden opportunity, basically, because it meant that we could essentially acquire customers for a very, very small amount compared to what we normally would. So because of that, we had this insane uptick, basically.
Yeah, we I think at one stage we were spending like 1.2 million on paid acquisition in a 30-day period. So it was quite intense, and that it drove more issues into the business. You've got to, when you're acquiring that many customers in a short space of time, you've got to. There's always going to be growing pains, and we had those growing pains. But what would have taken us 3 or 4 months to deal with in 2017. I think we probably within weeks we'd corrected a lot of the issues, and we were working through them, and that's again his experience. And I think this year's been a very interesting one, like hyper growth into kind of resuming the growth we had prior to COVID, stabilizing the business, getting us into a position where it's not just the three of us driving it forward, but there's multiple people doing that.
Yeah.
There's accountability, there's KPIs, there's numbers we need to hit, there's budgets. I would class us now as a business and not just a machine that made some money. We everything is set up for growth, and it's we've got the right people on board, and I think the next couple of years are going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, in the next episode, I think we're supposed to be talking about the future of kind of like what we're going to be doing and of our technology and stuff. But to give some kind of, I guess, little peek at it, like essentially during this entire year, we've been speaking to, well, actually, we had a couple of investors reach out to us last year. A few people that really wanted to start some conversations, and we were. I don't think we were really set on the idea of investment last year. I think we were just kind of, having conversations, trying to get an understanding of how does it work, because it's all new to us and we've never really done anything like that before. And then as we've kind of gotten into this year, the conversations have gotten a lot more serious, and we've got some pretty big, interesting things happening around that, especially in light of all the COVID stuff, the way the business is growing and the trajectory we're on right now. We've started getting quite a lot of interest, right? So that's put us in a pretty interesting but also quite a strenuous position in terms of like everything we're having to learn about and adapt to as we go.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of the changing the business to make it more structured and have these KPIs, have all the data points that we require, and a lot of that is getting us ready for that world, I guess. And I think the reason we want to go into that world, or we are kind of dipping our toe in the water, is because we've never sold a business before, like, and if we're gonna do it, then we need to be exposed to that world. We didn't used to do PR, so nobody, like, we were a business making almost £1 million profit that nobody even knew about, and we just thought that was normal. We thought that we were a tiny business making a tiny amount of cash. But when you speak to other entrepreneurs who are starting SaaS companies, they're like, I've never made a profit, or our revenue's like, we were actually quite a sizable business, but we just didn't know. And since we've spoken to people people in the VC space, they are all kind of blown away by the fact that we have managed to get to a stage where we're approaching, probably 7 to 8 million in ARR, and we've taken on no investment. We've done this all by ourselves, and I think the story is, it's fairly unique. I mean, we can sit here and play it down, but it's quite a unique story, and I guess that's what people are trying to buy into. So yeah, that's kind of where we're going to, and the product's changing quite significantly. We've got a bit of a change in strategy, and I guess the thinking behind that is what we'll talk about in the next podcast.
So yeah, I mean, to basically close on that is like one of the things we're really doing here is, with the 5-year anniversary coming up and everything, we've been working quietly on a new kind of version of Viddyoze, which we're going to be releasing in November. And that's just something that we've put a lot of energy into and time into during the entire year, really. And during the lockdown thing, we've pretty much just spent our time just putting our head into that and making sure the app's going to be the best that it can possibly be. We've had a look at it, and we were taking a look at it last week in terms of how it looks and everything. And I can honestly say it's like the best the app's ever looked, functionality-wise, feature-wise. It just looks, when we first had this idea back then, I didn't think it could be this way.
No, a lot of the big kind of things that we've had over the years, which have caused us problems, a lot of the complaints we've had from our user base, or even like when it comes to like refunds and cancellations, I mean, all the things that have kind of been a reason for that, we've kind of taken those and said, right, we need to make some big changes to the product, and they're the things we're kind of solving. So I'm thinking it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be interesting going to market with this new version and recontacting all our old customers and saying, hey, the problem you had back in, 2018, we've fixed it. Come and use the product again and see what you think. And I think we're going to have. I'm hoping the feedback's going to be good, because if not, I'll be pretty upset, because it's been a lot of hard work, and we think we're doing the right thing. So
yeah, cool. Well, if you guys want to hear more about kind of the new version of Viddyoze, make sure you just head over to viddyoze.com. Keep an eye out for the kind of stuff we're working on. Join the Facebook group as well, because a lot of the information is kind of being posted in there and on our fan page and on our Instagram and everything else. So let's keep your eyes peeled, really. But that's pretty much it. That's the retrospective. That's what we've been doing over the last 5 years. We have missed a lot of stuff, but can't fit everything into 60 minutes. But it's been a good journey, and looking forward to the next couple of years, really. Anything else you want to add?
No, I'm pretty tired now. That was a lot of information, a lot of kind of trying to remember the past. But yeah, again, same as you, excited for the future, re-energized and ready to go.
Cool. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We are going to be doing weekly episodes again now. Fortnightly, actually, I think. Nindy told me it's going to be fortnightly. So you'll find out when the next one comes out. So we'll see you on the next episode, and catch you later.